Quick. Matt, you asked the difference in the value versus the data when using the element value input type. I think it depends on the element. Drew, like, do you have a good answer for that?
Yeah, it 100% depends on the element. But basically the way to think about it is like we have a couple hooks into the different elements to make them do what we want. So like we have this get value and set value, and we have a separate one which is get data and set data. 99% of the time they're the same. So for most elements, like if like a text paragraph element, when you do set value in or set data, like, it wouldn't matter. But some elements it does matter. And so the repeating list, which is a big one, if you do set, the set value and the set data are going to be exactly the same, but the gets are different for a repeating list. So if you do get value from a repeating list, it's the value that you see like visually on the page. If you do get data from a repeating list, it's the entire value of that repeating list, even if some of them are hidden or filtered out. So there's some nuances, like we wouldn't be able to explain all of them here even, but another really good example that I use though is the select element, where set value in a select element chooses what it's selected, but set data on a select element sets the options. So it's just like a little mechanism we have, and it's sort of, I mean, it's our fault, but it's just like not documented. It's sort of something you just kind of like learn, but at some point that'll be nice and documented for each element, what each of those things does. And then like, you'll really be able to take full advantage of those.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any follow-ups on that, Matthew?
No, I think that clears up what I was wondering. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I would follow one thing with that, just add one thing, which is almost always you just use set value. Like unless you're specifically doing something that you know is for set data, like setting the select options. Otherwise, like I just always use set data. I mean, I'm sorry, set value. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
All right. Awesome insight, Drew. And thanks for taking us through setting that up for Kyle and getting him going. Okay, so we do have some time left. Josh, did you say someone needed help with something? I don't see anything in the chat.
Chris needs help on searching a repeating list where there are also two nested repeating lists on each row page. And we need to try and search all of the potential values in the same flow.
Okay.
Yep. Is there more to show about that, or because I can talk about the philosophy of pulling it up? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Hey, all, now you can hear me. I can show you really quickly if you want me to. I'll just share screen to show you. Pretty easy peasy. Let's see, go down here. How's everybody? It's been a while. Been a hot minute, as my girlfriend says.
Yeah, an extra hot minute for us down here in Texas.
Yeah, we're in a crazy heat wave.
Pretty easy. Like after we get done with this, I'm gonna submit this for a design award. I know it's pretty hot looking. But this is,
don't sell yourself short.
it's pretty simple. I just want to be able to use the search, and obviously you can see this is a repeating list, but each of these little blue sections are repeating lists also. So if I do this, you know, it comes in and I'm giving you more detail that you need to know, but this is where the repeating list actually gets set, you know, than down here. But the idea is so that I can type search and I can search any of the text fields or any of the fields that show up.
Yep.
Pretty straightforward to understand.
Yeah. And it's like there's a technique to this in Builder.
Okay.
So I'll just do the like high level first, and then we can go through and set it all up. But basically what you do is on the main repeating list that is storing all the information, you're going to set a variable that is like just a long variable that contains anything you want to search on. So you can set a variable for like all the fields that are in that main card, and just like separate them with spaces. So it's just like a bunch of words with spaces. And then you can, on each grid list that's nested, or each repeating list that's nested, you can add into that main variable on the parent page and add all those values. And essentially you get a variable for each row that just has a bunch of keywords in it. That's the way to think about it. And so when you search, you specify for that variable, because when you search, it gives you like a field to search on. It doesn't have to be like a field in the database or anything. It's just a variable on the page. So you
I
search
see.
on that new variable. So that's the high level, if that makes sense. And then yeah, we
Yeah, it
can go
does.
set it up.
Okay, so that makes sense. And then I'll zoom in really quick. So you're basically saying, so here's the main card that we would refer to. Let me zoom in a little bit further. Right. So this is the main repeating list card. So this is where we would set that main variable
Yep.
referring
Yep.
to, right?
Yep.
So you do like a flow. So we would add a new flow, and we do like set main search variable. And you create flow, and then this
So
is
here,
part-
depending on how you want to set it up, you might add in all the values from this card, or you might not. You kind of have a choice there. But
Okay.
essentially, you can start this by doing a set variable action.
Okay. And do set. It's always down here at the bottom somewhere.
And now, actually, I'm looking into how we can fix that. So that it's like if it says set variable and it's an exact match, just pops
I
it.
put it at the top. I struggle with that also. I'm like, fun stuff to work with. Okay. So set on the main page, right? And so I just need it
Current
right here
page.
on the current page, right?
Mhm.
And then we can just do search all. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then this is the part where I'm going to get a little confused on what to do.
So depending on how you want to do this, there's like I would probably do this with you want it to search literally every field, right? Like every field on this card, every field or do you want to be selective about which ones?
No. You could search everything.
So to search everything, I would ignore the fields on this card for now because you can just in the search tell it to search everything. So what we'll basically be doing is we'll be setting a variable that contains the nested repeating
Yep.
list values.
Okay.
And so you can do that with a concatenate. That's probably the easiest way here. So instead of the text input for that type, you can change it to concatenate. And
Get it? No, I think I did something wrong.
jumped.
This is what we want.
Yep. And then so for that first one, you can go from element value. And you can say select the first repeating list as the element.
Oh, I see. This guy right here.
And now value is good for this, but here's the question. So like those repeating lists are basically one keyword in them that you want to search on, right? Or is there a bunch of data inside each of those rows?
Really, this happens to be that each one of these rows happen to be just a single bit of information. That's it.
Okay.
So it's just one little string.
So what I would do then is actually target that string here. So it's basically a path that'll filter that out. Like right now, if you did from element value, repeating list value, it'll give you like an array that'll say like field name, like, curly bracket, field name, colon, the value.
Oh, right. It's going to give you all the information.
Yeah, like we don't really need that. We can pull out just the value. So for this first repeating list, do you know what the field, like what the field ID is for that name?
All right, it's going to get a little tricky here.
Okay.
This first one is a text.
Yep.
This is actually a relationship.
Oh, okay. So let's just skip it. It should still work when we skip it. So let's just skip it, and then it will test. I know like exactly how it would break if this didn't work. We'll test to make sure it still works.
Okay.
But to keep it easy, let's just take the value like you have it, and then add a path there of it's toString, like two lowercase with a capital S in string. And then I would actually, before you press enter, do the capital, or yeah, you can click that, but before you press enter, or maybe, is that popping in? That's fine. Sometimes I put a 1 in those parentheses, that's what I was getting at, but like, you don't need to. Especially in this case, you don't need to.
Oh, I see, because this just fills it in automatically. It doesn't actually. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a little weird, like if you press enter, and like you probably put in a perimeter field, I'm not sure, but that's fine. This basically just takes that array, because that repeating list is an array, and make sure it's a string that you can search on.
So normally you put a 1 in here? Is that what you would say?
Yeah, and you can, but what that one does is that makes it search in, it makes it stringified like into all the children. So if you had a crazy array that had a lot of children, you definitely need that one. In your case, you don't need that one, but like I always put it because it's safer. So that's all I was doing there. I didn't
Okay.
mean to add confusion. But that right there is good because that would get you the value of the repeating list as a string. And on the bottom, there's an add another value link. So that's
Mhm.
for the concatenate. Do the next repeating list. So instead of text, you do from element value.
Okay, and then we do the second one.
Mhm.
Select. See if we can't get a little more room. Can't. Oh, good Lord. I got double things going on here. Go away.
I don't know. Sometimes those are tricky. You just have to, yeah, there you go. Roll on, roll off it.
The second one there.
Okay.
We're going to do
And
the
have
same
that
thing
path,
again.
Yep, of 2-string 1.
Like that.
Yep. And make sure you press enter when you type it manually. Or yeah, hit the plus or whatever,
At the
because
plus.
if you don't, it
It's
doesn't.
just a little slow. Okay, and that's it, right?
Yeah, because you only have the 2 repeating lists, right?
Correct.
So yeah, so that's it. So now what you have is on that card page, you're gonna have a variable with more keywords in it, and you're gonna have all the existing fields, like the mock-up name, description. You're gonna have all that stuff on that card page, so you can run the search flow.
Okay,
And
so when I hit,
yep.
okay, so this search flow, this is actually looking at each of the repeating lists. So hopefully when I do this, it should just work automatically now.
Oh,
You're
okay, it's
saying.
already set up. Yeah.
Yeah, is that right?
You
So
might need to
let me
refresh. I don't know.
yeah.
Or actually,
Refresh.
we created a new flow though for what we did, so it might not be running anywhere, right?
You're right. I don't know. Yeah,
You
the
did
set
set main
variable
search
isn't done.
variable. So basically what you want to do, you can run set main search variable anytime after those product types are loaded.
Okay,
Right? 'Cause we
so
just need to set it once.
do you do like page binding?
Is that where the other repeating lists get loaded? Like, are they bound with a purple data tab or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They're
So in page binding, going to there, and then
okay.
after.
I'm just gonna name this really quick.
Yep.
Okay, and then we're gonna go page binding, and then we're gonna do
After that
add
data run
action.
bindings flow, do a nest, not an add action, but a nest, because we already have the flow, so we just nest it in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep, and it's that set search variable one. I forget exactly. It's set main search variable. And
Like
then
that.
I would put a wait after run bindings, or like a wait like before number 4. The reason is number 3 there, data run bindings. What that actually does is that looks in all the purple data tabs and then sets the value into the element. So then we wait and then we set the main search variable, and now you're good. Now that search should work as you have it.
Okay. Well, I get the concept. Oops. So if it doesn't work right away, I can go and debug because I understand what you're saying. I
Cool.
didn't understand that the like when that search the functions you guys had set up or the flow set up, that this thing actually searches all data with inside of
It
the page.
only searches all data if there's like 3 options in the search where you select the grid you're searching, you select the input, and then there's like an option where you can filter it by a specific field or not. Basically, if you leave that field blank, it searches all. If you set a field, it'll only search the field you set.
Doesn't look like it quite works yet, but
yeah. Does it work on the other ones? Like if you type part of like a mock-up name, does it work?
Oh yeah, if I do like iPhone in, like it'll do. I was just trying to do this section right here and it totally did it. But if I go, I'm trying to get it so I can get any of these and it's not showing those yet.
I mean, the thing we set up should have. It's probably just a little tweak in there somewhere.
All right,
Can you try searching without the at? Just search invitation digital. I'm curious.
I'm gonna just do digital because invitations everywhere.
We can actually check if you want right now if the variables exist on the page. And it's probably a good thing to know if you right click on one of those rows, you have to actually do it on the row and do inspect. And then when it pops up in the console on the bottom, So it's selected on what's new. Yeah, go to console and just don't select anything else up there because we need to be on this element. But in the console, type $0 all the way at the bottom. You have to go. Yeah, right there. It's kind of weird. $0 dot. And then if you type a B, it should come up. Yeah, brow object. That's what you want. And then dot. And then start do it. Yeah, it's that brow form, that top one, BRW form. And then dot underscore VARS. Vars. V, not B.
Vars.
Yep. And now if you press enter, it's going to show you all the variables on that page, and you can open that up, like expand that with a little arrow. And what we should see is we should see one for the search.
No.
No. So yeah, it didn't work what we did. I'm not sure. We can go check it, but basically.
Builder. Oh yeah, I already got. I used. Was it Dunes tools?
Oh, so you already have that. I'm sorry. I could have done it easier. That's
Yeah.
Just do it in my old like long ways.
All right. Do we have time or do we? I don't know. Anybody else has got anything else?
I don't think anyone has anything else that I know
Okay.
of.
So let's take a quick look again. Here we are. We probably need to do it in.
But we are definitely hopping off at 11 o'clock because we've got maybe some things to do.
Maybe.
Maybe
What
in
the
the way
heck?
of like, I don't want to say, I hate to say before we actually do it.
I think I've told everyone in this call besides George.
I think it's where now. Where is that? Where did it go? Did we
Set
set main
main-
variable, right?
That main search value. Yeah, this is what we want.
George, Jeroen released a debug tool in one of his plugins. It's really cool.
Where do we, you know where that link is off the top of your head, Cora?
Let me see if I can find it.
It's in there's a plugin section that's in the Discord that's where I got it from.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so now where do we want to go here?
So I don't know the best thing to check. Basically, that set variable search all should have set this correctly, and instead, each time it got into those lists, it set null for the value.
Should we change this to 0 to see if we can get anything back?
Yeah, you can even actually delete that if you want to see if we get anything back. Just remove
Okay.
the path.
Uh,
Click on toString on the word, and then there's a little trash can icon on the bottom.
I got it. Okay, let's do both.
Yeah,
We'll just
That's a good thing to
let's-
test. Just test that, and then look at the variable in that same way, or with Unix's thing, and
Yeah.
then we'll see if it gives us anything in there. Because it could be timing. We might just be getting it before it's set.
templates. Happy. It takes a while to load sometimes. Nope. Okay. Inspect. Shows up. There's still no null.
So maybe it's timing. So this is what I would do here. Instead of running that flow set main search variable, instead of running on page binding, you can remove it from there. And then go to the flow.
Remove group.
Yep. Sorry, it's weird. I don't know why it says group.
Yeah, that was. I thought I was going to remove everything. I was like, oh my gosh.
All this stuff like will rapidly be fixed. That's the thing. It's like the reason I'm laughing is because we're in the middle of updating some stuff like that where it's just like very important. It needs to be updated. So yeah, go to the search flow, whatever runs when you search.
That's on the different page, right? So that's actually up here. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because
I
that's
think that
the
makes
card,
sense.
so it would be right here on
Yep.
this guy.
I for some reason wasn't thinking that. It makes total sense, but like it's still fine. This will still work. So yeah, go to that search flow, and basically before you search, add an action for run flow on page. We're just gonna create that variable right before we search every time.
Oh, but can you do it for each individual object, or are you going to do it for the whole page?
It'll do it for each page itself and set it on itself.
I see. Okay, so I'm going to do run flow.
Yeah, run
Right.
flow on page. Run flow on page, what it actually does by default, and it's like down a little bit into the right.
There
to
it
see-
is.
to make that pop
Okay.
up. What it does by default is it runs on every single instance of a page. So if you have a page inside a repeating list and you do run flow on page, it'll do it for every page in that list by default, which is what we
Oh, I
want.
see. So then you want to do
You select that row
actual
page. Yeah, I don't know. What
page I want to do, right?
the row. I don't know what the card or the row page is called, but that's what you want.
Yeah, it should be, this is it right here. And then
And
I
then
want to
actually
do
set main
the
search.
set main search variable, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And so below that is where you could filter for certain pages, but that's not, we just want it to run on every page. We just want to set that variable on the page, which is fine. It's not a big deal. It's going to just run everywhere. And then put that, you put it first and put a weight in between
Okay.
that in the search. And now try to run this. First, we can see if the search works. It might, but if not, we'll look at that variable again. And hopefully the variable has value. And I don't know,
Hey, it works.
Perfect. So it's a timing issue on those repeating lists. That's all that's happening. We just trying to get it too quick.
Yeah. Yep, it works.
Sweet.
Case insensitive too. Nice job, team builder team. We got one done on live. Good job. That's
We get to end
fantastic.
it on a high note. Thanks, Christopher.
Thanks. So look at, you have 3 minutes to spare. You guys can go fix more of those like typographical errors, a couple more.
I would rather we go release what we're about to, because I think you will be happy.
I'll be
Yeah, we
very
have a
excited. Josh, I
few
got your
releases.
message. I'll message you also back on collaboration and some stuff. Thanks for thinking of me on that.
Scott, can you clarify what you just asked? I missed the problem. I want to be clear. Chris, I'm looking forward to that conversation. Anyone
Yeah, I
that-
was wondering if that was the same problem we were having with our repeating list not populating before it was trying to run the flow. Do you remember that problem we were having where
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
okay.
What, Josh, you don't know off the top of your head? Remember?
Come on, Josh.
You're not, we can only do that with Dorian. He's like, do you remember that really random issue that was happening in this project?
He's like, oh, task ID number 8159751. Like,
Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap it so we can jump over to what we need to do. If there's anything we didn't get to, chat us in Discord or come see us next week because we do this every week.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
next week, Josh has pro office hours, so check that out. Okay, any